The Craigslist ad was 3 lines long. The last line read, "Destroyed Friday." Linda's hand froze on the mouse. 200. Laying hens, free to good home, otherwise destroyed Friday.
200 birds. Slaughtered. Unless someone picks them up. I don't have a trailer. I don't even know how to load that many chickens, but I can't just let them die.
She picked up the old corded phone hanging on the kitchen wall and dialed the number on the ad.
Hello. I am calling about the hens. The ones in the ad. I'll take them.
The man on the other end sounded tired, not cruel. He told her to come before Friday.
Now? I just need a trailer and a plan.
She had 3 days, no trailer, no experience, and no idea that this decision would change everything. Linda walked to the neighbor's place, where a rusted cattle trailer sat forgotten by the fence. The neighbor listened to her request, his expression tightening with doubt. He told her to bring it back in one piece and handed over the keys without another word. Alone in the yard, Linda wrestled the heavy trailer hitch onto the ball, muscles straining.
This is reckless, but I can't shake the image of those birds waiting to die.
Minutes later, the old pickup rumbled onto the highway, trailer clattering behind. 400 miles lay ahead. Enough time for doubt to creep in and settle.
What if the man on the phone was wrong? What if they're all dead already?
The landscape blurred past the window as she drove through the afternoon, the weight of her choice pressing on her. By evening, the dark outline of the industrial farm appeared on the horizon. She was almost out of time. Linda pulled up to the padlocked gate of Sunny Farms Egg Company. A tired-looking worker in coveralls unlocked it without a word. She drove the truck inside, the gravel crunching under the tires, the silence of the place louder than any machinery. Then she stepped through the wide barn door and stopped. The smell hit her first: ammonia, dust, and despair. Rows of wire cages stretched into the dim light, each one crammed with featherless, listless birds.
I've never seen anything so hopeless. How can they still be alive? I am here for the hens. All of them.
The worker shook his head, mumbling that they'd never make it. But he handed her a stack of plastic crates. For an hour, Linda worked without pause, lifting each fragile body into a crate, whispering quiet promises.
Hold on. Just a little longer. You are going to see the sun.
When the last crate was loaded, the trailer was full of soft clucking and the faintest flicker of life. She was going home. She drove through the night, and as dawn broke, Linda pulled into the gravel driveway, the trailer creaking behind her. Without pausing to rest, she backed the trailer up to the pasture gate and killed the engine, her hands trembling from exhaustion.
Come on, girls. It's safe now. This is your new home.
One by one, the battered hens stepped onto the green grass, blinking in the morning light, bare skin visible against the lush field. Linda watched them, a tired smile breaking through her exhaustion. They were free. She had actually done it, but freedom had an audience. At the fence line, 2 neighbors stood watching, their laughter sharp and clear, carrying across the field. She turned away, scattering feed, refusing to give their mockery the satisfaction of a response. She focused on the birds instead. A black pickup rolled past, slowing just enough for the driver to glare. Larry Reeves, the county's biggest egg producer. 3 days later, a letter arrived with the county seal. Linda opened it at the kitchen table, her face tightening as she read. Pursuant to zoning ordinance, we hereby inform you of a formal complaint alleging your poultry operation violates agricultural regulations and constitutes a public nuisance. A week later, Linda sat alone in a folding chair in the county zoning board meeting room. Behind the long table, 3 stern faces waited. Larry Reeves took the podium first, his voice filling the small room with practiced outrage.
She's got 200 birds out there with no proper facilities. The smell, the noise, it's going to attract vermin and bring down our property values.
He painted her as a reckless amateur, threatening the whole county's agricultural integrity. Linda waited, hands clasped, her face unreadable.
I keep my flock on rotated pasture at a distance from neighboring operations. They have clean water, organic feed, and I follow every state guideline for biosecurity.
She spoke quietly, but with a certainty that made the board members lean forward. The room felt different. After a brief deliberation, the chairwoman nodded and announced the ruling. The complaint was dismissed, but she was warned to maintain strict cleanliness and file regular reports. One more complaint, and the board would revisit.
This isn't the end. A few fancy words won't save your birds when everyone in this county wants you gone.
Linda met his glare without flinching, but as she gathered her papers, the weight of the warning settled on her shoulders. The months that followed were quiet and unrelenting. Linda rose before dawn every day to carry fresh water and organic feed across the pasture. Slowly, the bare patches filled in with new feathers. The birds that had once huddled in fear now stretched and scratched in the sun.
I didn't know they could look like this. Like real birds, not just factory parts.
She marked every change in a spiral notebook. Feather growth, egg counts, which birds needed extra care. The numbers climbed.
90 eggs yesterday, 112 today. But the feed bill is eating through my savings faster than they can lay.
Every afternoon, she walked the coop rows, collecting warm brown eggs into a wicker basket, the hens clucking softly around her legs.
If I can't sell these, all this work, it won't matter. I'll lose the farm anyway.
By the 4th month, egg production had tripled. The flock was unrecognizable, glossy, alert, and thriving on pasture. Now the eggs were piling up faster than she could give them away. She needed customers, and she needed them soon. The birds had done their part. Now it was up to Linda to prove that rescue wasn't just charity, it could be a business. On a crisp Saturday morning, Linda set up her booth at the county farmers market, a hand-painted sign reading, "Linda's Pastured Eggs," propped against a basket of brown eggs. The first few shoppers glanced at the sign, noted the $4 price, and moved on without a word.
$4 a dozen is half what they pay at the grocery store. Why won't they stop? What am I doing wrong?
Then an elderly woman paused, studied the eggs, and bought a carton. She came back 20 minutes later, with a neighbor.
2 customers. It's a start. They'll tell someone else. That's how this works, right?
By midday, a few regulars had appeared, drawn by the rich color of the yolks and the taste that reminded them of eggs from their childhood.
12 dozen sold. That covers feed for 3 days. If I don't sell more, I'll run out of money by winter.
She packed up the unsold eggs and counted the cash. The total was enough to keep going, but not enough to sleep easy. Meanwhile, Larry's factory eggs still filled every grocery shelf in town, sold at a loss to keep customers away from farmers like her.
I didn't rescue them to get rich, but I can't let Larry win by default. I have to find more customers.
The evening news flashed a map of the Midwest. Avian flu had crossed 3 states and was moving east.
Only 2 counties away. If it reaches my pasture, every hen could be dead in a week.
The next day, Larry Reeves dismissed the threat in a televised interview, smirking at the camera.
People are panicking over nothing. My barns are sealed tight. This virus won't touch my operation.
Linda read the morning paper. The front page confirmed the first cases inside their state.
Larry's barns are a disaster, waiting to happen. The flu would tear through thousands of birds in hours.
She spent the afternoon on the USDA website, printing every biosecurity guideline for pasture-raised flocks.
Pastured birds at a safe distance might be exempt from culling. We could actually survive.
But nothing was certain. The virus was unpredictable, and the state could impose a blanket order.
I need to act now. Tighter fences, no visitors. It's not about eggs, it's about their lives.
Within a week, avian flu was confirmed inside the county. USDA officials in hazmat suits rolled into every commercial poultry barn. Linda stood at her fence, watching the convoy pass toward Larry's operation. She had done everything she could. At Larry's facility, the order was swift and absolute. Every bird condemned, trucks hauled away the loaded crates. Larry stood at the gate, a man who had just lost everything.
I didn't think it could happen here.
Meanwhile, a USDA inspector walked Linda's pasture, checking GPS coordinates and biosecurity records. The verdict came back, exempt. Her flock was safe.
They survived. We actually survived. But Larry, the whole county's going to feel this.
That evening, Linda stood at her fence, watching the smoke rise from the incineration site miles away. The silence was heavy. Her eggs were now the only local supply, but the weight of that responsibility had just begun. The line at Linda's booth wrapped the market. Everyone knew her eggs were the only ones left. The sign now read $18 a dozen. Nobody argued.
$18 a dozen. And they're still paying. I've never seen panic like this.
She sold out by noon. The rest of the line stared at empty baskets in disbelief. By Monday, her phone rang non-stop. Grocery managers frantic, pleading for supply. One manager's words cut through. "We have empty shelves. People are getting angry. Please, anything."
I can give you 200 dozen a week, $15 wholesale.
He accepted instantly. Linda added his store to a list that was now longer than she could handle.
Push the hens harder, and I risk their health. But hold back, and the county starves.
By Friday, 3 chains had contracts. She was the county's only egg lifeline, carrying a burden she never asked for. Linda hired a local teenager to help with the morning feeding and egg collection. It still wasn't enough.
I am working 16-hour days and still can't fill the orders. The birds are producing at their limit.
She sat with her notebook, calculating. Expansion would mean more hens, more coops, more risk.
But if I bring in more birds, I could spread the flu. My exemption requires a small, isolated flock. One mistake, and they're all dead. I am at capacity. I can't give you more without risking everything.
The news of her refusal spread. Some praised her caution. Others called her a price gouger.
They think I am hoarding eggs. I am barely sleeping. I didn't ask for this.
She stuck to her limit. The grocery shelves stayed bare, and resentment simmered.
I rescued these birds. I won't let them become another factory. Not for any amount of money.
As the days passed, Linda became the most needed and most criticized person in the county. In his empty barn, Larry sat in front of a dusty television. The news was showing Linda's packed market booth.
Those birds were worth nothing. Now, she's selling for $18. How did I miss this?
Every worker left. The bank called his loans, nothing but a hollow shell.
I spent 30 years building this. It's all dust now. Maybe she was right all along.
He stood up, grabbed his old cap from a hook, and walked out of the barn without looking back. The road to Linda's farm was 3 miles of gravel and humiliation. He walked it slow.
I never thought I'd be walking toward her place begging, but I don't have a choice.
He passed the fence where he once glared. Neighbors watched, but now they saw a broken man.
What do I even say? I was wrong. Will she slam the door in my face?
When her driveway came into view, Larry stopped, took a breath, and kept walking. Linda was in the barn office when she heard footsteps on the gravel. She looked up and saw Larry Reeves, hat in hand, standing in the doorway. He looked older than she remembered. The smugness was gone, replaced by something that looked like shame. Neither spoke for a long moment. The only sound was the distant clucking of hens in the pasture.
I was wrong about everything. The zoning board, your birds, the way I treated you. I need your help. I lost everything. My operation, my workers, my reputation. Will you teach me how to do this?
Linda searched his face for the arrogance she remembered. It wasn't there. She didn't speak. The seconds dragged, full of unspoken history.
He really means it. Or he's just desperate enough to fake it. I can't tell yet.
She let the silence stretch until it became a weight between them. Larry waited, not knowing if he would leave with hope or humiliation.
Before I answer, there's something you need to see.
She walked to a filing cabinet, unlocked a drawer, and pulled out a thick manila folder.
You remember the zoning board? You signed off on a lot more than just my complaint.
Larry took the folder, his hands unsteady. He opened it and saw the official county seals. The first page was a zoning waiver for waste runoff, signed by Larry Reeves. Behind it, follow-up reports showed biosecurity deficiencies he had personally dismissed.
You approved waste runoff into the creek. You signed off on biosecurity gaps. Those gaps are exactly how the flu spread through your operation.
I didn't know. They told me it was safe.
I've been sitting on these for months. I could have sent them to the state, but I didn't.
Larry stared at the papers, the truth heavier than any loss. He realized she held not just his future, but his entire past.
I'll teach you everything I know about pasture management, but it comes with a condition. You confess publicly, all of it. Then we rebuild your land together, the right way.
Larry's face went pale. The words confession and rebuild hit him like a physical blow.
Or I send the records to the state tomorrow morning. I need your answer now.
Larry's hands began to tremble. Pride, fear, and a lifetime of denial warred on his face.
A public confession ends my career. But if I stay silent, she'll end me in court. There's no good choice.
Linda waited, her gaze unwavering. The silence was thick enough to choke on.
I am not doing this for revenge. I am doing it because the county needs a different kind of farmer. He can be that, or he can be an example.
Larry's knuckles turned white on the edge of the table. He knew this was the price of his own arrogance. Finally, he lifted his head. The fight drained out of him. The choice was made.
I'll do it. The confession. Teach me.
Linda nodded, her expression unchanged. She'd expected this, planned for it. No triumph, just the next step.
We'll draft the statement tonight. The press conference will be at the county hall.
Larry sank into the chair across from her, the weight of his decision settling. But there was a flicker of relief. They worked for an hour, Linda writing, Larry offering details. The statement was blunt, unsparing.
You need to say it yourself. I'll write the facts, but the words have to be yours.
She's making me own every word. It's fair. I did this.
He's not fighting it. Maybe there's hope for him yet. For the land.
An hour later, the statement was final. Linda read it once, then folded it and handed it to Larry. Tomorrow at noon, the county would know the truth. Larry Reeves would stand alone and speak his part. The county hall conference room was packed at noon. Reporters jostled for space, cameras pointed at the empty podium. Larry Reeves entered in a gray suit, his old cap gone. He looked older, thinner, but he walked to the podium without hesitation. He gripped the edges of the podium and began to speak, his voice low but steady.
I am here to confess to years of negligence and arrogance. I personally signed off on waste runoff into public waterways. I dismissed reports of biosecurity gaps. Those choices helped spread the avian flu. I lost my farm, and I am responsible for part of the county's suffering.
The room was utterly silent. In the back, Linda watched, her expression unreadable, but her chest rose and fell with a deep breath. Cameras flashed. A radio reporter quietly narrated the scene into her phone. The news was already spreading.
I intend to rebuild, with Linda's guidance, using pasture-based methods. It's the only honest way forward.
Larry stepped back from the microphone. The confession was over. The redemption had yet to be earned. The morning after the confession, Linda met Larry at the gate of his empty farm. The silence there was a kind of accusation. They walked the spent pastures, Linda pointing to the soil, explaining how moving the hens every few days would heal it.
We'll start with 100 birds. Rotate them every 3 days. The soil needs rest, just like the hens.
I never thought about soil. I just fed them.
He carried a notebook now, writing down every word. His hands, calloused from years of machinery, fumbled on the slim pages.
He really is trying. I didn't expect that.
A week later, a photographer from the local paper arrived. The front page captured Linda and Larry studying a sketch of pasture rotations. The headline read, "From foe to farmer, a partnership born from crisis." Linda's reputation softened. Some still called her stern, but now they added fair. Larry discovered humility was less painful than he'd feared. The work was honest, and that mattered. Months passed. The egg famine eased as other small farms, watching Linda's success, began adopting pasture rotations. Grocery shelves, once empty, now carried cartons labeled pasture-raised and local, pasture-raised and local. Prices higher, but supply steady.
It wasn't just my eggs that saved the county. It was the idea that chickens belong on grass, not in cages.
At the farmer's market, the lines were shorter now, but the regulars remained, greeting her with familiar gratitude. Some neighbors who once laughed came by with quiet nods, offering to trade seeds for advice.
I didn't do it for their approval, but it feels better than being right.
In her quiet moments, Linda still kept the folder of records in her safe, a reminder of what had been at stake.
I did this for the hens, and for the land. The rest was just necessary.
The county was recovering. Scars remained, farms lost, trust broken, but the lesson was taking root in the soil. Linda looked over her sunlit flock and allowed herself something she hadn't felt in years: peace. A few weeks later, Larry invited Linda to walk his new pasture. His first batch of hens scratched in the grass, feathers gleaming.
I didn't believe you at first, but you saved my land. Thank you.
You are welcome. But you should know, the records are still in my safe. I won't use them unless I have to.
I know. I am earning back trust one day at a time. That's fair.
He's not the same man who tried to shut me down. But trust isn't a gift. It's built.
The shadow of the folder hung between them, but it wasn't a threat. It was a boundary. It was a boundary. They walked the pasture again, discussing rotation schedules and winter shelter, their conversation easy and practical. The partnership was real, but so was Linda's file. The county had learned that redemption came with conditions. When Linda finally turned to leave, Larry nodded once. Not bowing, but not challenging either, simply equal. The records remained in her safe. A silent reminder that power, properly held, could heal as much as it could punish. In the final light of the day, Linda stood in her pasture, the hens settling around her in a soft feathered ripple. From the house radio, the faint echo of Larry's confession drifted across the yard, a ghost of old trouble.
So much noise, then. Now just the birds, the wind, and a quiet that feels earned.
A neighbor's truck slowed on the road. The same man who had laughed from the fence now lifted a hand in greeting. No laughter, just a simple, respectful wave. Linda raised her hand, not triumphantly, but quietly, the way people do when a long fight is over.
They don't laugh anymore. That's enough. That's more than enough.
She breathed deep, the scent of grass and warm soil, filling her lungs. The hens clucked softly around her bare feet. The sun dipped below the tree line, painting the sky amber and rose, as if the land itself had been waiting. The world had changed, and so had she. The grocery shelves filled again, not with factory eggs, but cartons labeled local pasture raised and Linda's pastured eggs. People who once laughed now paid premium prices for what had been worthless. Linda's farm became the model, her name a promise of quality and resilience. But none of it would have happened if she hadn't driven that borrowed trailer 2 states over. They laughed when she adopted 200 stray chickens, until her eggs saved the county. She stood among the glossy red hens, the same birds no one else wanted. A gentle breeze moved through the grass, and the faint clucking was the only sound that mattered. She had turned mercy into meals, and mockery into a movement. The county would never go hungry again, not while Linda's hens were on patrol.